the grand halls of Berlin, under the flickering light of golden chandeliers, European leaders sat around a large wooden table. The year was 1884. A massive map of Africa lay spread before them. British, French, German, Belgian, Portuguese, and Italian officials pointed at territories like merchants dividing goods. They debated, bargained, and drew artificial borders across lands they had never set foot on. Yet not a single African ruler sat at that table. Before the Europeans made their plans, Africa was home to powerful kingdoms and advanced societies. The Ashanti Empire thrived in West Africa, trading gold and maintaining a strong military. In the east, the Ethiopian Empire, led by Emperor Johannes IV, maintained its independence. The Zulu Kingdom, under King Cetshwayo, had fought fiercely against British invaders. The Kingdom of Dahomey had strong warriors, and the Sokoto Caliphate governed vast lands with Islamic laws. African societies had their own systems of governance, trade routes, and alliances. But Europe saw only opportunity: land, gold, rubber, diamonds, and human labor. The Africans were not consulted. Their fate was sealed thousands of miles away. European explorers moved deeper into Africa. They carried with them false promises. Missionaries spoke of education and civilization, while traders sought resources. European officials convinced African rulers to sign treaties, promising protection in exchange for trade. But hidden in the fine print, these treaties allowed European countries to claim entire territories. Chiefs who resisted were forced into submission through warfare. The British burned Benin City to the ground. The French crushed resistance in West Africa. The Germans violently suppressed uprisings in Namibia, committing one of the first genocides of the 20th century against the Herero and Nama people. No European was greedier than King Leopold II of Belgium. He claimed the Congo as his personal property, not a colony of Belgium, but his own private estate. Under his rule, millions of Congolese were forced into brutal labor to extract rubber. Those who failed to meet quotas had their hands chopped off. Entire villages were massacred. A handful of missionaries and journalists exposed the horror, leading to international outrage. But by the time Leopold's control ended, millions had died. Africa did not surrender without a fight. The Zulu warriors, armed with spears and shields, defeated the British at the Battle of Isandlwana in 1879. In Sudan, the Mahdist forces drove out Egyptian and British rulers, establishing an independent state. In Ethiopia, Emperor Menelik II crushed the Italians at the Battle of Adwa in 1896, the first time an African army defeated a European power in a major battle. Despite their bravery, most African forces were eventually overpowered by European guns and artillery. Yet these battles planted the seeds of future resistance. By the early 1900s, nearly all of Africa was under European control. The map of Africa was redrawn with borders that made no sense, dividing ethnic groups and forcing rivals together. Families were split, cultures were disrupted, and resources were exploited. Europeans built railroads not for Africans, but to transport goods to European markets. Education was limited to a select few. Traditional systems of governance were destroyed. Africa's wealth was drained. The gold and diamonds of South Africa filled European banks. The ivory of East Africa decorated European homes. The cocoa from Ghana and coffee from Ethiopia enriched foreign markets, while Africans labored under harsh conditions. Colonial powers forced Africans into cash crop farming, leading to food shortages. Taxes were imposed, requiring Africans to work for their colonizers just to survive. The land was no longer theirs. By the 20th century, a new generation of African leaders emerged. Inspired by global independence movements, figures like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, and Patrice Lumumba of the Congo began demanding freedom. World War II had weakened European powers, and by the 1950s and 60s, African nations began breaking free. Ghana led the way in 1957,